Hey, my friends, this is Ryan, and welcome back to Fluent Flow, English Podcast. Here's the truth nobody tells you. You can study job vocabulary for months and still freeze when your colleague asks, "What do you actually do here?" at the coffee machine. Today, I'm not giving you lists or textbook dialogues. I'm walking you through my entire workday, from the 8:45 a.m. greeting to the 5 p.m. career conversation, and you're going to hear exactly how native English speakers talk about work in real life. By the end of this episode, you'll know how to describe your job, handle workplace challenges, and share your career story with total confidence. Sound good? Let's dive in. Have you ever wondered what native speakers actually say when they talk about their workday? I'm not talking about "Dear Sir" or "Madam" or "I am writing to inquire." I mean the real stuff. What happens when Sarah from accounting stops by your desk at 9 a.m.? When your boss asks, "Can you handle this right before lunch?" Or when a colleague wants to know if you actually like your job? Today, we're going inside a complete workday, my workday, and you'll hear every single conversation exactly as it happens. From the moment I walk through the office door at 8:45 a.m. to the career conversation at 5 p.m., nothing is scripted, nothing is formal. This is the English that flows through morning coffee chats, pressure-filled afternoons, and honest conversations about dreams and frustrations. And here's the best part. By the end of this episode, these phrases won't just sound familiar, they'll feel natural in your mouth. This is English you can use tomorrow. So stick with me through this entire day, because what you learn in the next minutes will change how you talk about work forever. Ready? Let's clock in. Picture this. It's 8:45 a.m., and I walk into the office. My colleague Sarah is already at her desk typing something on her computer. She looks up, smiles, and says, "Hey Ryan, how's it going?" I drop my bag on my chair and reply, "Pretty good, ready to tackle today's projects." Notice something important here? We didn't use complicated words or formal language. This is how real people actually talk when they arrive at work every single morning. When you start your workday in an English-speaking environment, these small exchanges matter more than you think. They build connections with your teammates before the serious work begins. You might say, "Just got in," if someone asks where you were, or "Traffic was crazy today," to explain why you're a bit late. These phrases are simple, direct, and they show you're part of the team. Nobody expects Shakespeare when you walk through the door in the morning. Let me tell you something interesting. In American workplaces, we almost always greet people when we arrive. Even if you're tired or stressed, you say hello. It's not about being fake, it's about respect and connection. You could say "Morning, everyone" to the whole room, or just nod and say "Hey" to people you pass. The words matter less than the gesture itself. Think of it like this. Greeting people is like turning on a light switch for your workday. Now, Sarah might continue the conversation. She says, "Did you finish that report yesterday?" And I respond, "Yeah, sent it before I left. Should be in your inbox." Notice how we keep sentences short? We don't say, "Yes, I completed the document and transmitted it via electronic mail prior to my departure." That sounds like a robot. Real English at work is friendly, quick, and clear. Save the fancy words for when you really need them. Before I sit down, I might grab a coffee from the break room. On my way, I see Tom from accounting. We make eye contact, so I say, "What's up, Tom?" He replies, "Not much, just another Monday." We both laugh a little because, well, Mondays are Mondays everywhere in the world. These tiny moments, the greetings, the small jokes, the "how are you" exchanges, they're the glue that holds workplace relationships together. Master these, and you'll feel at home, anywhere.
Around 9 a.m., a new intern approaches my desk. She looks a bit nervous, holding her notebook like it's a shield. She asks, "So, Ryan, what exactly do you do here?" This happens all the time in real workplaces, especially with new people. It's actually a great question because it helps everyone understand how the team works together.
I smile to make her feel comfortable and get ready to explain my role in simple terms. Here's how I answer. I coordinate the marketing team's digital campaigns. Basically, I make sure our online content reaches the right people at the right time. See the structure there? First, I give my official role, the formal job title and main responsibility. Then I add the word basically and explain it like I'm talking to a friend. You don't need fancy corporate language full of buzzwords. You need clarity. Think of it like explaining your job to your grandmother. The intern nods and asks another question. "So you work with social media?" I reply, "Yeah, that's part of it. I also handle email campaigns and work with our design team on website updates." Notice how I'm breaking down my job into pieces? I'm not giving her a 10-minute speech about my entire career. I'm sharing bite-sized information that she can actually understand and remember. This is how native speakers communicate at work. We keep it digestible. Sometimes people get confused about the difference between their job title and what they actually do every day. Your title might be marketing coordinator, but what does that mean in practice? It means you send emails, attend meetings, create content, solve problems, and drink way too much coffee. When someone asks what you do, paint a picture of your actual day. Say things like, "I spend most of my time," or "a big part of my job is." These phrases help people visualize your work. Before the intern walks away, I add one more thing. If you ever want to learn more about digital marketing, just let me know. I'm happy to show you some projects. She smiles and says, "Thanks, I really appreciate that." And just like that, we've built a connection. Describing your job isn't just about listing tasks, it's about opening doors for conversation and collaboration. When you can explain what you do clearly and warmly, you become someone people want to work with. At 9:30 a.m., my manager stops by my desk. She's holding her tablet and looks focused. "Ryan, can you handle the client presentation this afternoon?" she asks. I look up from my screen and respond without hesitation. "Sure, I'm on it. I'll have the slides ready by noon." Notice the phrases here? "I'm on it" is one of those golden expressions that means "I'll do it" or "I'll take care of it." It's confident, direct, and professional all at once. Now let me break down the second part. "I'll have the slides ready by noon." This structure is super useful in any workplace. You're not just saying yes, you're giving a specific deadline, showing you understand the urgency and can manage your time. In American business culture, people respect clear commitments. If someone asks you to do something and you say maybe or "I'll try," it sounds uncertain. But "I'll have it ready by," followed by a time, that's a promise people can count on. My manager nods and says, "Great, thanks, Ryan. Let me know if you need anything." Then she walks away. That whole exchange took maybe 20 seconds, but it accomplished so much. We clarified the task, set expectations, and maintained a positive working relationship. This is the rhythm of workplace English. Quick, clear, and action-oriented. You don't need long explanations or apologies. Just confirm, commit, and deliver. Sometimes people worry about saying yes to tasks when they're already busy. Here's a tip. If you can't do something, be honest but helpful. You might say, "I'm swamped right now, but I can do it by 2 p.m. instead of noon. Would that work?" See how that works? You're not refusing, you're negotiating. Or you could say, I've got 3 urgent things on my plate. Which one should I prioritize? This shows you're responsible and aware of your limits. Before I dive into creating those slides, I send my manager a quick message. Just to confirm, you need the Q3 results presentation, right? About 10 slides? She replies, exactly, thanks for checking. This is called clarifying, and it saves so much trouble later. In English workplaces, asking for clarification isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of professionalism. Better to spend 30 seconds confirming than 3 hours working on the wrong thing. Remember that. Lunch break arrives at 12:30 p.m., and I'm starving. I grab my sandwich from the fridge and head to the break room. 3 colleagues are already there. Tom from accounting, Maria from HR, and Jake, another marketing guy.
I sit down, and Tom immediately asks, "How long have you been with the company, Ryan?" I take a bite and reply, "Coming up on 3 years now. Started right after I graduated." This is classic lunchtime talk. Casual, personal, but still work-related. Maria jumps in with another question. "Do you see yourself staying long-term?" I laugh a little because that's a big question, right? I answer honestly, "I love the team here, but eventually I'd like to lead my own department, maybe in 5 years or so." Notice how I balanced positivity about my current job with ambition for the future? In American workplace culture, it's okay to have goals beyond your current position. It doesn't mean you're disloyal, it means you're thinking about growth. This is where real career conversations happen, not in formal interviews or performance reviews, but over sandwiches and coffee in the break room. People want to know your story, your journey, your dreams. Jake shares that he's thinking about going back to school for an MBA. Tom mentions he almost left last year for another job, but decided to stay. These conversations build trust and understanding within teams. You learn what motivates people, what challenges them, what keeps them up at night. Then Maria asks me, "What's been your biggest challenge here?" I think for a moment and say, "Probably learning to manage multiple projects at once. In my first year, I was overwhelmed constantly. But I developed systems, learned to delegate, and now it feels natural. Sharing struggles doesn't make you look weak. It makes you human. And when you add how you overcame those struggles, you actually look stronger. People respect vulnerability paired with growth." As we finish eating, Jake says, "We should do lunch together more often. It's nice to actually talk instead of just exchanging emails all day." Everyone agrees. This might seem like a small moment, but it's huge for workplace culture. These lunch conversations turn coworkers into colleagues, and colleagues into friends. The English you use here doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be genuine. Ask questions, share stories, listen actively. That's the real secret to connecting at work. By 2 p.m., things get intense. A problem emerges with a project deadline that everyone thought was under control. My teammate Alex looks stressed, running his hands through his hair. He says out loud to the team, "This is impossible to finish by Friday." There's panic in his voice. I walk over to his desk and say calmly, "Let's break it down. What's the biggest obstacle right now?" This is leadership language. Staying calm when others are stressed and focusing on solutions instead of problems. Alex explains that the client changed requirements yesterday, and now we need to redesign half the campaign. I nod and say, "Okay, that's frustrating, but let's prioritize." what absolutely must be done by Friday, and what can wait until next week. Notice how native speakers handle pressure. We acknowledge the difficulty first. We don't pretend everything is fine. But then we immediately shift to action mode. Words like let's prioritize, let's focus on, and what can we move the conversation from complaint to solution. Another teammate, Lisa, joins us. She suggests, what if we delegate some tasks to the design team? They have more capacity right now. I reply, that's a good call. Alex, can you send them the specs today? He nods, already looking less stressed. See what happened there? We transformed panic into a plan in about 2 minutes. The key phrases were, let's break it down, let's prioritize, and what can we delegate? These are the magic words in workplace problem solving in English. Sometimes, problems at work feel overwhelming because you're looking at them as one giant mountain. But when you break them into smaller pieces, tasks that can be done today, tomorrow, this week, they become manageable. In English, we use phrases like one step at a time, first things first, and tackle the urgent stuff now, to create this mental shift. It's not just about the words, it's about the mindset those words create. Stay solution-focused, not problem-focused. By 2:30 p.m., we have a clear action plan. Alex seems relieved and says, thanks for helping me think through this. I was freaking out. I reply, no problem. We're a team. We figure things out together. And that right there is the heart of good workplace English. It's collaborative, supportive, and action-oriented. When challenges come up, and they always do, the language you use can either escalate the stress or defuse it. Choose words that build solutions and support your teammates. That's what makes you valuable. At 3 p.m., during a coffee break, my friend David from the finance department walks up. We've known each other since I started here. He's holding his coffee like it's medicine and asks, do you actually like your job, Ryan? Be honest. I pause, because that's a real question that deserves a real answer. I say, most days, yes. I love the creative side of marketing and the people I work with. But the long hours can be draining sometimes, especially during campaign launches. David nods like he totally understands. This is authentic English at work. You don't have to pretend everything is perfect. In fact, if you always say everything is amazing, people won't trust you. It's okay to acknowledge challenges while still expressing overall satisfaction. Phrases like most days, I love the, but, and can be draining let you share real feelings in a professional way. You're not complaining, you're being honest about the full picture of your work life. Then David shares his own situation. Yeah, I feel you. My job is stable and pays well, but sometimes I wonder if I should have pursued something more creative. I reply, that's the trade-off, right? Every job has pros and cons. What matters is whether the good outweighs the bad for you. This kind of conversation happens all the time in English-speaking workplaces. People don't just talk about tasks and deadlines, they talk about meaning, satisfaction, and whether their work aligns with their values. I continue. For me, the relationships here make a huge difference. Even on tough days, I know my team has my back. David smiles and says, yeah, good people can make even a boring job tolerable. Notice the vocabulary here? Words like stable, trade-off, pros and cons, outweighs, and has my back are common in discussions about job satisfaction. These aren't technical terms, they're everyday expressions that native speakers use to talk about work-life balance and career contentment. Before we head back to our desks, David asks, have you ever thought about switching careers entirely? I laugh and say, sometimes I fantasize about opening a coffee shop or becoming a surf instructor, but honestly, I think I'd miss the challenge of marketing.
Then we both laugh because we know those are just daydreams. The truth is, talking openly about job satisfaction, the good, the bad, and the complicated, creates deeper connections with colleagues. It reminds you that everyone is figuring things out, and that's perfectly normal. At 4 p.m., I'm mentoring a junior team member named Emma. She's been with us for 3 months and is eager to learn everything. She asks, "Ryan, how did you learn all this? You seem so confident when you present to clients or handle big projects." I smile because I remember feeling exactly like she does now. I say, "In my previous job, I was just an assistant. I made tons of mistakes, sent emails to the wrong people, missed deadlines, even crashed a presentation once in front of 20 people." Emma's eyes widen. "Really? You?" I nod and continue, "But each mistake taught me something valuable. I learned that asking questions isn't weakness, it's wisdom. I learned that double-checking work saves time in the long run. And I learned that everyone, even executives, is just a person trying to do their best." When you talk about your career path in English, don't hide the struggles. Phrases like, "I used to," "I learned that," and "looking back" help you tell your professional story with honesty and show personal growth over time. Emma seems relieved to hear this. She says, "I'm always worried about bothering people with questions." I lean back in my chair and tell her, "Here's what nobody tells you when you're starting out. Experienced people want to help. We remember being confused and overwhelmed. When you ask good questions, you're actually showing that you care about doing things right." This kind of mentoring conversation is common in English workplaces. It's about sharing wisdom gained from experience, not just technical skills. I share another lesson. One of my early managers told me something I'll never forget. She said, "Ryan, confidence isn't knowing everything. It's knowing you can figure things out." Emma writes that down in her notebook. I continue. "So when you feel unsure, remember that every expert was once a beginner. The difference is they kept learning, kept asking questions, and kept showing up even after mistakes." These are the kinds of phrases and ideas that resonate in professional development conversations. They're inspiring, but realistic. Before Emma leaves my desk, I tell her, "Also, find mentors. Not just one, find several people who are good at different things. Learn from all of them." She asks, "Like you're my mentor now?" I smile and say, "Sure, but don't limit yourself to just me. Learn from everyone you can. That's how you grow fast." This conversation reminds me why I love my job. It's not just about campaigns and metrics. It's about helping people become better versions of themselves. That's what makes work meaningful in any language. As 5 p.m. approaches, I'm wrapping up emails and getting ready to head home. My manager catches me before I leave and asks, "Hey Ryan, can we talk for a minute?" I say sure, wondering what this is about. She sits on the edge of my desk casually and asks, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" This is one of those classic questions that can feel intimidating, but it's actually an opportunity to share your dreams and ambitions with someone who can help you get there. I take a breath and answer honestly. I'd love to be managing a team of my own, maybe even heading up our international campaigns.
I'm really interested in how marketing works across different cultures. Notice the structure of my answer. I use "I'd love to," which shows strong interest without sounding arrogant. Then I get specific, not just "I want to be a manager," but what kind of manager and in what area. Talking about future goals requires specific verbs like "I'd love to," "I hope to," and "I'm working toward." These show ambition without arrogance. My manager smiles and asks, "What are you doing to prepare for that?" This is the follow-up question that separates daydreaming from real planning. I reply, "I'm working on improving my leadership skills. I volunteered to mentor junior team members. And I'm learning Spanish to work better with our Latin American partners. I figure by the time I'm ready to lead international campaigns, I'll have at least conversational Spanish. See how I connected my current actions to my future goals? That's what makes aspirations credible in English workplace conversations. She nods approvingly and says, "That's great initiative, Ryan. Keep me updated on your progress. When opportunities come up, I want to make sure you're on my radar." I respond, "I really appreciate that. This conversation means a lot." This exchange demonstrates something important about professional English. It's not just about stating what you want, it's about showing you're actively working toward it. Phrases like "I'm working on," "I plan to," and "by the time I'm ready" show you're serious about your growth, not just talking about it.
As my manager walks away, I feel energized. Talking about your future in English doesn't have to be scary. The key is being specific, connecting your goals to concrete actions, and showing humility while still being confident. You might say, "I'm interested in developing skills in," or "I see myself contributing to," or "long-term, I hope to." These phrases let you express ambition in a way that invites support, rather than sounding presumptuous. Your career is a story you're writing. Make sure you can tell that story clearly in English. So, there you have it, an entire workday in English, from morning greetings to evening reflections about your future. You've experienced how real professionals describe their roles, handle unexpected challenges, connect with colleagues over lunch, and share their career dreams. The secret to mastering workplace English isn't memorizing fancy, formal phrases from textbooks. It's understanding that work conversations are fundamentally human conversations. They're about connection, clarity, and collaboration. Whether you're explaining what you do, solving a problem with teammates, or talking about where you want to be in 5 years, the language that works best is simple, direct, and genuine. Think about all the phrases you heard today. "I'm on it" when accepting a task. "Let's break it down" when facing a challenge. "Most days, yes," when being honest about job satisfaction. "I learned that" when sharing your growth journey. These aren't complicated expressions. They're the everyday language of professionals who communicate effectively. You don't need a PhD in English to use them. You just need to understand the context and use them with confidence. The beauty of workplace English is that it values clarity over complexity, action over eloquence. When you speak about your job in English, remember you're not reciting a resume or performing in a theater. You're sharing part of your life's journey with other people who are on their own journeys. You're building relationships that make the workday better for everyone. You're solving problems together, celebrating wins together, and sometimes just surviving Monday together. That's what makes workplace English both practical and deeply human. It's language in service of getting things done and taking care of each other while doing it. So the next time you walk into an office, join a video call, or even just think about your work in English, remember Ryan's day. Remember how natural conversations flow when you focus on being clear and genuine rather than perfect. Remember that everyone, even the most confident professionals, started somewhere, made mistakes, and learned by doing. Your English doesn't have to be flawless to be effective. It just has to be real. Start with simple greetings. Ask questions when you're unsure. Share your ideas honestly, and support your teammates with words that build solutions. And here's my final thought. Every conversation is practice, and every workday is a chance to improve. You'll have days when the words flow easily and days when you struggle to express what you mean. That's normal. That's human. What matters is that you keep showing up, keep engaging, and keep treating language as a tool for connection rather than a test to pass. Your career in English is just beginning. And the best part? You get to write the story one conversation at a time. Now go out there and make it a good one. If this episode helped you understand how workplace English really works, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that bell so you never miss real conversations like this. And here's something important. If you struggle to speak English confidently, watch my next video. It reveals how limiting beliefs like "I'm not good at languages" block your progress, and shows you how to replace them with powerful affirmations through shadowing practice. You'll learn to spot hidden beliefs, reframe negative self-talk, and overcome speaking anxiety with daily challenges and real success stories. Perfect for A1 to A2 learners ready to believe in their fluency. The link is right there. Click it now and let's keep building your confidence together. See you in the next one.